overseas, just all over the world, are experiencing extreme pressures when it comes to cost. And they've pretty much squeezed efficiencies out of all typical things that they would think of. Lean manufacturing has been around for a long time. There's your Six Sigma and these elements of how you manage efficiently. But energy is one place where it's been sort of left out because traditionally it's been pretty inexpensive, your energy. And as the cost of energy is increasing and the reliability is growing not to be so reliable anymore, we need, these manufacturers need to better understand how energy is used in their facility and reduce their costs. So the main pain point we're solving is a cost problem and creating efficiencies and cost reduction when really they're looking at not being able to find out where those are in their current operations. So our first app is an energy management utility bill analysis tool for Chinese factories. And we just tested it in 11 factories. And we got 100% success rate, which was very exciting. So we were able to reduce costs in every single factory that we took it into. And the best part is that it doesn't require a lot of overhead or training. We actually build coaching right into this analysis tool. So rather than just showing charts and graphs, we're providing specific recommendations as well as telling them how to go about making the changes and what kind of cost savings they can see from making those changes. So it gives them at the facility a real incentive to take action on these efficiency measures. I just spent 6 weeks in China. The first 5 weeks, we went around to all of these factories and had them enter an electricity bill into our system. And seeing them use it and watching their reactions was a pretty cool thing. When you come up with an idea and you've been working closely with your customer to solve their problem, it's pretty awesome to see it actually happen. And so getting user feedback and having them give us input as to what's really important to them, I think was one of my favorite parts of the trip. And they're excited to see what other things we can build into it and how we can grow it. In the last week of my trip, I actually spent working in a Chinese factory as a factory worker. I lived in the dorms, I ate in the cafeterias, and I worked every job in the factory, just about. So I soldered PCBs on the assembly line. I ran their ERP system. I did incoming quality control. I assembled these little speakers, these little apple-shaped speakers that you plug your iPhone into. I sort of did every piece of the factory. And that was part of our effort to really understand what our customer goes through on a daily basis and to understand how to make a tool for someone that has a very different life than us and that works very differently than sort of an enterprise software customer in the US. So it's our new motto for our company is everyone is going to work in a Chinese factory for a week. Our factory focus mantra as a company, we need to understand what happens at that end of the supply chain in order to accurately collect data that's going to be useful for everyone else in the supply chain. We have a lot of assumptions about the way things operate and the way things work. From a software perspective, when you're building a tool for someone, understanding how much time they spend at their computer, right? How much time do they even have to use this tool? What other things sort of are pulling on them, and what stresses and incentives or disincentives do they have to even do what you're, providing them a tool to do? That's where a lot of the insight is in seeing how can we create something that doesn't need a lot of time, doesn't need a lot of expertise. And I think that's where we're uniquely positioned kind of with our strategy of really understanding this customer to make a big difference for them because we understand it. So I think my biggest takeaway was just that, you can never know too much about your customer. And things are done completely different in different parts of the world. And we have to understand that to really solve the problem. Right now, we're working directly with a lot of Chinese factories. But we also work with global brands and retailers in their effort to reduce energy in their supply chain, as well as better understand what's happening in their supply chain so they can use that intelligence to make better procurement decisions and make sure the most efficient, productive factories are the ones that stick around, using real data to validate that. We're building the supply chains of the future. And that's really our vision for the future is a connected, a connected marketplace where global companies have real information and real intelligence about the suppliers they buy from, so they can make way better decisions, and they can help the suppliers that do the right thing, not just from a ethical standpoint, but also from just an economic standpoint, win.